Have you ever wondered why Blockbuster failed as a company even though they used to be so successful? Well, today we're going to talk to you about three reasons why they failed. This topic is important because everybody once heard of how Blockbuster used to be such a successful company back in the day. And this was, in fact, before Blockbuster made some bad decisions about deals. They failed to adapt and they made some bad decisions leadership wise. Today, we're going to talk to you about three specific reasons that Blockbuster failed. These include not buying out their competitor when they had the chance, their inability to adapt, and leadership issues with their new CEO. We decided on this topic because it was something that we can all remember. Like I said, we can all remember when they went bankrupt and until they eventually closed. Having talked about why we chose this topic, we're now going to move on to our first point.
Blockbuster not buying Netflix when they had the chance. So back in 2000, Netflix actually offered to buy Blockbuster, and they had a deal when it was a young upstart company. Netflix was willing to sell its own company for $50 million, which Blockbuster could have afforded, but decided against it, saying that it was too high of a price. Had Blockbuster agreed, though, Netflix would have helped Blockbuster to manage their online sales as well as their platform. While Netflix became successful because of their online business, Blockbuster eventually got left behind. Having mentioned what could have been, though, I believe it is time to move on to talking about Blockbuster's inability to change. Blockbuster's incapability of adapting to a digital platform led to its downfall. One of the main factors that exacerbated Blockbuster's issues was the inability for it to successfully adapt to an expanding digital platform. The internet at the time could have been considered to be in its more infant stages, though the fundamental qualities of the World Wide Web would allow for these companies to expand their consumer base into an untapped market at that time. And that was an untapped market that could have reached customers anywhere. Additionally, a study by Surowiecki found that brick and mortar stores, which are often touted for their ability to provide shoppers with a personalized shopping experience, these stores were beaten by computer algorithms that, quote, could provide a more personalized and engaging customer experience. Other companies also saw the internet as an opportunity for growth. They saw it as a place where it was cheaper to build and operate a store, and it was a place where customers could access said store from the comfort of their own home. The psychology of decision makers at Blockbuster also contributed largely to their inability to adapt. The investments that were poured into expanding business locations meant that Blockbuster was essentially financing its own downfall, as physical locations began generating less and less revenue over time while costs stayed the same. Blockbuster executives eventually did realize their mistakes in their investments, and they realized that their investments would be better used for setting up a digital framework, but ultimately it was too late. I believe now it is time we finally talk about the leadership behind Blockbuster and the part that they played in its downfall. The changing of the CEO played a major role in the downfall of Blockbuster. So John Antioco was unpopular amongst the shareholders. They were angry at the fact that John would receive a huge amount of compensation at the time of his departure. This disconnect was, of course, a big conflict for the board. CEO John Antioco was then replaced by Jim Keyes, and Jim's strength was in retailing. However, he was certainly not a digital guy. This ultimately led to Jim pulling the plug on the former CEO's Total Access program. He also raised the price for online consumers, and these two actions ultimately affected the business negatively. And these three issues were some of the main reasons that Blockbuster really failed as a company.
Hopefully, after talking about Blockbuster not buying out their competitor, their inability to adapt digitally, and their leadership issues with the new CEO helps you see why exactly this company failed as a whole. While ultimately there are many reasons why they failed, hopefully after seeing this, it made it easier for you to see why they exactly failed in the long run and why they were not able to keep up with their competitors. Thank you all for listening to this speech, and I hope it was informative, and I hope you learned exactly the reasons why Blockbuster eventually failed as a company. Thank you.